everyone, and welcome. Today I'm going to be going over the 26 books that I'm hoping to read in 2026. So 2025 was a really great reading year for me. I feel like I've really started to figure out what kind of books I like. So I've kind of made a list it's a mix of things. I have some of those type of books that I feel like I know I'm going to like. And then I've also put some books in here. I'm kind of wanting to branch out, try some different genres, try some different types of fantasy. So I have a good mix in here, I hope, and I'm really excited for all of these. We have some books that haven't been released yet in here. We have some series I'm continuing. I have a lot of things that I'm just really excited about in this list. But let's just go ahead and get started with the first book, which is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. And this is the first book in the Daevabad trilogy. And in this one, we are following Nari, who is a con woman living in 18th century Cairo. And she accidentally ends up summoning a Jinn warrior in one of her cons and learns that the magical world is actually real. She then learns about the City of Brass, which is called Daevabad, and she is somehow bound to Daevabad. Honestly, I don't really know much at all about this, but I've just heard a lot of people say that this is like a favorite of theirs. I've been really wanting to get to it. So I'm just hoping to go ahead and get started with it this year. So the second book I have on this list is Jade City by Fonda Lee, and this is the first book in the Green Bone saga. And then in this one, we have the Call family, which is one of two crime syndicates. And these two families control the island of Kekon, which is the only place in the world that produces magical jade. And this jade gives certain people superhuman abilities. Then there is a clan war that escalates between these two families. This seems different from my usual fantasy picks. I don't really read a whole lot of urban fantasy. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it, but I want to go ahead and give it a shot this year. And this is one I've heard really great things about, so I feel like this one will be a good one to go ahead and give a try as far as urban fantasy goes. Book number 3 is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, and this is the third book in the Folk of the Air series. So I'll tell you about what the first book is. I don't want to spoil anything, but the first book is The Cruel Prince, and we are following Jude, whose parents were murdered when she was a child by a Fae general, and this Fae general takes her and her sisters back to the Fae realm to live with him. And then we kind of follow her journey as a teen, trying to find her place among the Fae, because the Fae hate the humans and treat them terribly, so she's just kind of trying to navigate that and find where she can fit. And I have read the first 2 books in this series and really enjoyed them. Book 2 left off in a really exciting way, so I am very excited to continue on in this series. And the second book in the series I definitely thought was better than the first, so I'm hoping that's going to continue and I'm going to like this third book even more. Alright, so book number 4 on this list is The Will of the Many by James Islington, and this is the first book in the Hierarchy series. And in this one we are following Vis, who is accepted into a prestigious school where he is pretending to be a normal student going along with the hierarchy, where they take will from people and add it to the power of the people that are thought to be above them. But he's actually there trying to uncover secrets and, I believe, trying to take down the hierarchy. And I've been kind of hesitant to read this one. I've kind of put it on my TBR and taken it off a few times just because it doesn't really sound like something I would typically go for, but I've heard such great things about it that I'm going to give it a shot. I want to try it out and see if I like it myself. Okay, book number 5 is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, and this is the second book in the Throne of Glass series. So in this one, we are following Selena, who is an assassin, and she was caught and imprisoned and sent to Endovir, where she is meant to work in mines until she dies. And then one day, the captain of the guard and the prince show up to offer her a deal. And this deal is that she will go with them to the castle to compete in some trials to become the king's champion. And if she wins these trials and becomes the champion, then she will serve the king for 4 years, and then after those 4 years, she will be free. And I really enjoyed the first book in this series. I'm really wanting to continue it soon. I could see this being a favorite series for me just from how it's being set up. I'm hoping to get through a good chunk of the series, if not all of it this year, so I definitely want to get started soon. I feel like I've heard this take some crazy twists. I know this is a favorite series for a lot of people, so I'm just really excited to continue on. Next up is Rights of the Starling by Devney Perry, and this is the second book in the Shield of Sparrows series. And in the first book, Shield of Sparrows, we are following Odessa, who is a princess, and her sister has been training her entire life to be the sparrow, and being the sparrow, she will be married off to another kingdom, and that will fulfill a treaty. But when the prince shows up, he decides he wants to marry Odessa instead. And so she has to learn how to take on the role of the sparrow, which includes a lot more than she had realized. And I really, really love the first book, and I'm really excited. The second book is supposed to be released in April, I believe, sometime this year. I really can't wait to see where book 2 is going to take us. I really love the monsters in this series. That's something I've learned this year, is that I love monsters in my fantasy series. So yeah, I'm really excited to continue this one. Alright, book number 7 is In the Veins of the Drowning by Kaylee Cassidy, and this is the first book in the Siren Mage series. And in this one, we are following Imogen, who is hiding the fact that she is a siren because in this kingdom, sirens are hunted. And then a neighboring king visits, and he knows what she is and needs her help in saving their kingdoms from another monster. So they form some kind of bond and work together to do so. I've heard it compared to the Shepherd King duology as far as like that dark gothic atmosphere goes, so I'm really excited for that. I really enjoyed the Shepherd King duology. I haven't read anything with sirens, so I'm excited to go ahead and give it a shot. Alright, so book number 8 is going to be Ruthless Fae by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti, and this is the second book in the Zodiac Academy series. And in the first book, we are following twins Darcy and Tori, who are taken to a Fae Academy where they learn that they are Fae. And they also learn that they are the long-lost heirs to the throne. And then they are viciously bullied by the 4 elemental heirs who were meant to get the throne before the twins were found. And these heirs are trying to bully them out of the academy because if the twins don't graduate from the academy, then they can't take the throne. And I enjoyed the first book, and I really need to continue on as this is a really long series and I just need to keep moving. And I've heard it gets better towards the middle, so I want to get to that point. This is just a fun, fast-paced read that sometimes I just feel like I need a break, and I think this will be perfect for that. Next up is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir, and this is the first book in the An Ember in the Ashes series. And in this one, we are following Leia, and in the empire she lives in, they have to remain loyal or else there are severe consequences. And Leia's brother is arrested for treason, and she ends up seeking out help from rebels to hopefully help her brother, but in exchange she has to spy for them from within the Empire's greatest military academy. I'm really wanting to start this series and maybe even finish it in 2026. I've heard really good things, and it's a finished series. I have all the books on my shelf, so I want to get started on this one. Okay, book number 10 is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, and this is the first book in the Bloodsworn Saga. And this one is set in a Norse-inspired world where the gods have warred and have driven themselves to extinction. And now there are battles of power, and there's monsters in the woods, and there are whispers of a coming war, and we are following the journeys of 3 people: a huntress on a quest, a noblewoman who wants battle fame, and a thrall who wants revenge on the mercenaries known as the Bloodsworn. Like I said, I'm trying to branch out this year. I want to try out maybe some epic fantasy. I'm really excited for this Norse-inspired world because I can't think of any books I've read that have Norse mythology in it, so I'm really excited for this one. Alright, so number 11 is To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast, and this is the first book in the Divided Fate series. And this one is set in Dividum, where crime is punished by a life sentence in Enlock, where the wealthy hunt the inmates for sport. And we are following Raven, who is a bounty hunter, and her brother is sent to Enlock, and she gets herself arrested to try to help him. I haven't read many dystopian setting books, so I'm excited to give it a try. Sounds interesting, sounds like something I would enjoy. I've heard good things, so I'm excited to get to this one as well. Number 12 is A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly by Sophia St. Germain, and this is the first book in the Compelling Fate saga. In this one, we are following Alessia, who is half Fae, and her magic allows her to compel anyone to do her bidding. But she ends up being thrown into the Fae King's dungeons and is forced to swear a blood oath to him. And 5 years later, she lives among the humans when the king comes to collect his debt and forces her to infiltrate the human elections to find out if the current regent is involved in the strange things that have been going on with the Fae. And I've recently heard a lot of good things about this series. I like the sound of the infiltrating the elections and spying. This just sounds like something I would really like, so I'm excited to get to this one. Number 13 on this list is This Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi, and this is the first book in the This Woven Kingdom series. In this one, we are following Eliza, who is hiding her identity as the long-lost heir to an ancient Jinn kingdom by pretending to be a servant. and her life is turned upside down by prophecies that mean for her to overthrow a human kingdom. And this one is inspired by Persian mythology, which I think is really interesting. And I've heard this is a really good series, and in particular, I've heard the last book is really good, or the last book that's out. I'm not sure how many there's going to be, but I'm really excited to get started on it. So next up, we have The Road of Bones by Demi Winters, and this is the first book in the Ashen series. And in this one, we are following Scylla, who is on the run from the Queen's warriors, who were sent to bring her back to face her death. And her father's last words sent her on a quest to travel the Road of Bones, which is a 1,000-mile stretch with warbands, creatures, and a murderer. And she is then meant to go to Copa, where a shield house awaits her. And she barely survives the first stretch of the road, and she sneaks into a supply wagon which belongs to the notorious Blood Axe crew. And she is hoping to win over their leader and avoid his right-hand man. And it says it has fairy tales mixed with Vikings, and that sounds really interesting to me, and it sounds different from other stories that I've read. It sounds high stakes. It sounds really exciting to me. I'm really excited for this one. All right, so number 15 is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, and this is technically like a prequel to Divine Rivals, the Letters of Enchantment duology. But from what I understand, it's set way before any of that happened, so I think this one can be read as a standalone. But in this one, we are following Matilda, who is a goddess with messenger magic, and there is a mortal who dreams of her even though they have never met. This mortal man is named Vincent, and Vincent wrote to Matilda, who he befriended in his dreams, and he wrote her on the darkest day of his life, asking her to help him. But his request goes unanswered, and it hardens him, and he forgets about Matilda. And then one night she comes through his window with a letter for him. Like I said, this is a prequel for Divine Rivals, and Divine Rivals is a favorite of mine. I'm really, really excited for this one. I love Rebecca Ross's writing. She's probably my favorite author, or at least she's one of them for sure. I know I'm gonna love this. I've given all of her books 5 stars, so I am super excited to get to this one. All right, number 16 is The Wolf King, number 3. I don't know what the name of it's gonna be yet, but this is by Lauren Palfreyman. And this is going to be the, I believe, 3rd and final book in the Wolf King trilogy. And in this one, we are following Aurora, who is a princess, and she is engaged to a man who she doesn't want to marry. And one night, she is with her fiance, and they are watching fights between wolves that are put on by her fiance, who hunts down and catches these wolves and has them fight for entertainment. And she decides to stop the fight that is between an alpha and a young boy. And then that night, the alpha escapes and takes her away to his clan to use for bargaining with the king. And I absolutely love the first 2 books in this series. I gave them both 5 stars, so I'm really, really excited for the final book. And I'm super excited to see how things go and what path she's going to take. Alright, so number 17 is Reign and Ruin by J.D. Evans, and this is the first book in the Mages of the Wheel series. And in this one, we are following a female heir who faces discrimination from nobles who wish to marry her off, and she has to seek an alliance with a rival kingdom and their prince. And magic is dying, and they need mages to save it, but the mages were cast out centuries ago in a bloody war. And now there is a new war emerging with science and machines replacing magic and old religion, and they must find a way to save their people and balance the sacred wheel. This sounds really interesting to me. I've heard it highly recommended, and I'm ready to go ahead and give it a shot this year. I feel like I've heard a lot of people say they like the FMC in this one, I believe. I don't know, I've heard good things about this, and I'm just really excited for it. All right, so number 18 is The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith, and this is the first book in the Rose Bargain series. And this one is set in London in 1848, where for 400 years, an immortal Fae Queen has ruled. And to keep the people happy, she grants each one of her subjects one bargain for their deepest desire. And then the Queen announces a competition for the prince's hand in marriage, and our main character Ivy signs up for this competition. And she ends up finding herself as a frontrunner in the competition with the help of the prince's brother, who promises to help her, but for a price. And I think the second book is coming out this year, so I really want to get started on this one pretty soon. This sounds like something I would really like with the stakes of the competition and the bargain. I think I'm really going to love this. All right, number 19, When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker, and this is the first book in the Moonfall series. And in this one, we are following Rave, who is an assassin. And a bounty hunter is hired to capture a member of her rebellion group, and she finds herself at the mercy of the Guild of Nobles, who are a group of elemental fae who want to make a political statement out of her. And then she is discovered in the prison by Khan, who is hunting a moon shard. And I've heard mixed things on this one, but I want to give it a shot for myself. It sounds like something that I could maybe really enjoy. This is another one that I'm pretty sure the second book is coming out this year, so I want to get started on it pretty soon. All right, number 20 on the list is Inked in Ashes by Shannon Meyer, and this is the first book in the Inkbound series. And in this one, our main character's best friend Molly makes a plot to find a royal husband, and this plot goes horribly wrong, and she stabs him in the chest with a stiletto. And then they need to escape the palace sorcerer, who is doing everything he can to find the person responsible, including raising the dead. And they're also trying to get away from the prince's brother, Duncan. And I believe this is a Cinderella retelling as well. I've been wanting to start this one for a while, and I'm really hoping that I'm going to get to it this year. I'm really excited about it. All right, book number 21, Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent, and this is the first book in the War of Lost Hearts series. I think it's a trilogy. In this one, we are following Tasana, who is a former slave who journeys to the Orders, which is the most powerful organization of magic wielders in the world, and she is hoping to save her best friend who she left behind. But in order to join, she has to complete an apprenticeship with Maxentarius, who is a reclusive fire wielder who hates the Orders. And I've heard really great things about Carissa Broadbent's series, like a bunch of them, so I'm really wanting to get started on some of them this year. And this one I feel like I've heard more mixed things about, but to me it sounds like something I'm gonna like. I really like books that have like training in them, and this sounds like this apprenticeship will have that, so I think I'll really like it. All right, book number 22 is Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Roerich, and this is the first book in the Lady of Darkness series. And in this one we are following Scarlet, who has been trained since childhood to be an assassin, and she ends up locked up in a noble's house. She is then presented with a job, and if she is successful, her reward is revenge against the Fae Fire Prince who killed her mother. But her plans are put on hold as kids start to go missing, and she decides to help in the search for them. And I've been really wanting to get to this series because, from what I understand, it's recommended to read this one before reading the Legacy series by the same author because they are connected somehow. And I'm really wanting to read the Legacy series, so I want to get through this one hopefully this year. And I do think I will like this series. This sounds like something I would like. I like a mystery. This sounds more on the darker side. I think I'm really going to like this one. Okay, and then number 23 is The Serpent in the Wings of Night, also by Carissa Broadbent, and this is the first book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. And in this one, we are following Araya, who is the adopted human daughter of a vampire king. And she enters the Kajari, which is a tournament held by the goddess of death, and she is forced to make an alliance with Rain to survive. I believe Rain is a vampire. And I've heard really good things about the first duology in this series. This series is made up, I believe, of like multiple different duologies that are all interconnected somehow. And I haven't heard the best things about the second duology, but I've heard really great things about this first one. And I've had this one on my TBR for quite a while, so I just want to go ahead and get started on it. And I really like trials and I like vampires, so I really think I'm going to like this. All right, book number 24 is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. In this one, we are following two sisters during World War II who each have very different journeys. The older sister, Vianne, has to protect her daughter from when a German soldier occupies their home, and younger sister Isabel joins the French resistance. And this is one I'm wanting to branch out. I'm wanting to try historical fiction. I feel like it's something I could really like, and I've heard really good things about this one, so I thought this would be a good place to start. All right, two more. Number 25 is The Taken Ones by Jess Lurie, and this is the first book in the Steinbeck and Reed series. And this one is set in the summer of 1980 when three girls go into the woods and only one comes out, but she has no memory. And then in the summer of 2022, a woman is found buried alive holding a heart necklace that belonged to one of the two missing girls. And I wanted to add a thriller to this list because I love thrillers. And I've had this one on my TBR for a little while and I've been wanting to get to it. I've just been having a hard time finding thrillers I really love recently, but I want to keep trying. And then lastly, number 26 on this list, we have Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. And in this one, we are following Evander who lives in Hazelthorn Estate with his guardian who took him in as a child. And there are 3 rules Evander has to follow. He can't leave the estate, he can't go in the gardens, and he cannot talk to the guardian's grandson, Laurie. And he's not allowed to talk to the grandson because Laurie tried to kill Evander 7 years ago. But then Evander's guardian dies, and Evander inherits Hazelthorn Estate. And he is convinced that his guardian was murdered, and he believes that the grandson, Laurie, is the only one that can help him solve this murder. And I read Don't Let the Forest In by the same author in 2025, and I really loved it. It was one of my top books of 2025. And ever since then, I've been wanting to try more horror, and I thought another one by this same author would be a pretty good bet. It seems like it's also going to have a mystery, which I really love. But that is the final book on this list. That is all 26 of the books that I am putting on my 2026 TBR. But let me know in the comments down below what you are hoping to read this year. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I hope to see you all in the next one.